So I want to show you how you can add a nice little feature to our user authentication system. And Fred is logged in, and you can see that he is viewing one of his tasks right here. So I'm going to copy the URL and log out Fred. And if he goes back, say he can bookmark the URL, or he could go back in his history and find it, or you can even email the link to someone else who has permission to view the task. But as you could tell, he went to the task because he's not logged in. It's just saying invalid request, which might be a little bit confusing. What we want to do is redirect him to the login page so he can log in, and after he logs in, then let him go see the task. So that's a nice little feature we can add to our application so that it works a little bit nicer. Now he's trying to see the show method in a task controller, and you can see before you can call the show method we have to pass through the authenticate method. So that method is up here in the application controller where we added this authenticate method, and if there isn't a current user logged in, we're going to just redirect them to the root path and say invalid request. Well, instead of redirecting them to the root path, we'll redirect them to the login path. And instead of saying invalid request, we'll say you need to log in to view that page. That way they'll know that they'll need to log in. Now the only problem is we don't, after they log in, we'd like to redirect them back to the page they were trying to get to. So we need to save that page away right here. So right here, before we redirect them, we'll just save in their session a protected page. So this is the page that they were trying to get to after they log in. So now we need to go back to the sessions controller right here, and after we've logged in, instead of always redirecting them to the root path, we want to check to see if there's a page that was saved in the session that they were trying to get to, and redirect them to that page instead. So we'll do that right here. Our redirect URL will be equal to, if the session has a protected page, it'll be equal to the protected page, and if not, it'll just be equal to the root path. And now, instead of redirecting them to the root path, we'll redirect them to that redirect URL that we created right here. And now it'll just say logged in. So now let's see how this works. So Fred comes in here, and maybe through a bookmark or something like that, he visits his task, but he's not logged in. So now he's on the login page saying you need to log in to view that page. So he will log in, and now he's viewing that task that he was trying to view, and it was logged in instead of the root URL. Now the only thing is, if Fred logs out and then he goes to log in again, we still go back to this page instead of the root path. Why does that happen? Well, the protected page never got erased out of our session. So maybe after he logs in, we'll just set that session, the protected page, equal to nil to erase it out of the session. So now we'll try this again. We'll log Fred out. Now we got to remember that protected page is still stored in that session. So we can do tasks 2, and well, now of course we'll test this, and he logs in and he's viewing task 2. But hopefully now that protected page is out of the session, so if he just logs in without visiting a protected page, here's that back at the root page. So that seems to be working.